Welcome to Steve 87th, Puget Sound and Pacific Railroad.
Hi everyone, this is Steve 87th PSAP Railroad, or Puget Sound and Pacific. This is my channel, and I just wanted to invite you guys to come along and watch as I build my railroad, build up some kits, do some kit bashing, and running trains like the one behind me. So if this is what you guys like to watch, stick around for a while and see if you like the channel. Hey everyone, so we're going to start going over some of the stuff that I've been doing to try to make this thing happen. I also found out that there's a lot of other things that I'm going to have to get in order for me to make this work. Unless some people out there have some extra grain things, that'd be great. But as it is right now, let me show you what my progress is so far. These are all the pieces that I used to put together the Walthers storage silo bin sort of thing. They're very similar to the other one that I did. I'm not going to show you guys the video, but there's a video I'll link to it of there's a whole series that I did on how to build the silos up. So I'm not going to go over that one again, but this is the pile of pieces for the Walthers kit. All right, everybody. So here's my progress so far. I got the large silo, my silo that I already had existing, got a dryer finished, I've got a double tank set up, I've got an oil tank or water tank that's set up. I've also gone and finished some of the little feed stations that are there. And now I'm going to move on to my next project, which is building up the drying bin. So this one looks like it's going to take some time. I'm not going to film it because I just have a limited amount of space today, and there's a lot of things coming in. So I'll go ahead and make the two of these, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. Part of the problem that my stuff isn't all finished and all that is I got to paint it. And it needs a lot of paint, and I can't get outside right now because it's still a little bit too cold to use any of the paint cans that I have. So, but that's the progress so far. Unfortunately, I'm going to need, I think, a couple more of these big ones, and probably at least another one of those small ones. But I might use some of my cans that I have around. I've got some big cans that are just about the right size. I just got to fix them up and put some paper on them. I also have a few smaller cans up there that should work too. It's the small and odd sizes that seem to want to work the best. So that's where I'm at so far. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing these wet dry storage bins, and obviously I'm going to do it as a double set all in one shot. So I've got a little bit of an issue, right? I'm not going to show you guys how to build this all the way through just because of the amount of parts and all that. So first of all, I'm coming up on the bottom part of the build, and I'm going to document this a little bit. You see, it's the flat plate, and then you've got 18 vertical beams and then 18 of the cross beams that all have to be put in. And then you can put in the bottom barrel and the detail down there. One of my problems is that this is all painted gray. Obviously it comes in a nice little gray color, so you can just slap it up there if you want to. But the base plate comes in as gray as well. The base plate needs to be concrete because, you know, you're going to put this on concrete. So I've painted it concrete. My problem is, though, is I'm not painting all of these individual racks. You can see here I've got four of these because I'm going to do both of them at the same time. And you've got all of these to cut off, all of these to cut off. So I decided to go ahead and paint that. Now, my challenge is going to be putting these together without using glue onto the base plate. The reason is because I'm going to have to paint the rest of this entire tower. And I don't want to have to try to come back and paint this. It's going to be really impossible because when you look at how tight that is on the bottom, there's no room to get in there and try to paint it. Masking it off isn't going to work or anything like that. So hence why we're coming up with this. So I'll give you guys some progress and tell you if it works or not. Okay. All right, so here is my piles of cross beams. Here is my piles of standing beams. There are my 3 casualties that broke while I was cutting all of these things. The good thing is that only took me about an hour to cut all of this up. And then I still have 2 more spurs to go. Again, this is for 2 tanks, but I still have to clean up all of this stuff because they are so delicate and so fine that, and the distance they were from the spur, they were really, really tough to cut. So I decided to cut out part of the spur so that we could just go ahead and start making these. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. This is not a faint of heart type model. Mostly it's these things. It's cutting out all of this and cutting out all of that. While I was doing that, I cut out the long ends, but I still have 2 more spurs of stuff to cut out, which is mostly the ladders and tops and things. So, good thing was, it gave that time to dry. So, I'm going to go ahead and clean up all of this stuff and see how we can start putting this together. So, literally, after the other ones are still drying, the cross beams, after literally 2.5 hours of cleaning these things off, cutting them off the spars and cleaning them off. It took me about 2.5 hours. The one thing that it did do was it did set right into the area that it needed to be at. So that's kind of nice. Now I'm still not sure. I haven't glued these down. They're just standing there freely, which is nice. And the other parts are drying right now before I put them on and start gluing them together. So that, like I said, that was 2.5 hours of cleaning up, of cutting these off the spurs and then cleaning them all up just so much as that they're looking nice. And then I had to wash them because they had all the sand dust on them and all that. So again, not for faint of heart. So we're only still on step 1. And you can see that these are part number 2. Those are part number 2. They got the 18 of them in their holes, and now I'm waiting for the number 3 part, which is another 18 of them to dry. Was able to put this together. This was kind of interesting because it's a ring that actually goes on this, so you have to glue this on the ring. The problem was I had to figure out how to make it stay down and stay down flat. So, nice thing. My wife got me this from Tonic Studios, a Jim Holtz thing. This is all a glass work surface, and it's got measuring sticks on it and all that. What I found was, and so it makes it nice and flat. So what I was able to do was put the ring on, and it's a little trick that I did. So how do you hold down a cone? Well, really hard. Take a roll of tape, okay? And I just happen to have this nice heavy battery. And you don't want to put the battery right on the tip because it's just going to be on the tip. So the roll of tape gets the battery, gets it up high enough to put enough weight and pressure on that. So that's what holds that down because there's no way to really clamp it, and even trying to put rubber bands on or something, it's not going to work. So just a little tip there. Keep your rolls of tape around that you need, okay? So we're going to wait for those to dry. Meantime, I'm going to actually put the other posts in this one. I know I only need one of these, but I might as well make both of them at the same time. Who knows? Maybe that'll be something I give away or somebody can buy it. All right, so let's see what happens after this then. All right, so the supports are cleaned, and we have a couple supports. Made both of those up. Nice thing is painting this first, I think it actually made the holes a little bit tighter, so those are all freestanding. They are not glued in place. Remember I tried to say whether or not I was going to glue these in place. So now my next big trick is these go apparently like this somehow. I gotta figure out how they go in there. Oh, sorry. Probably missed that one. But these go on like that. And then they go all the way around. So obviously that one's backwards because the angle is wrong. So they're going to go all the way around like that. So you see what I said about making it concrete first, due to the fact that, well, there's no way there's no way I can get a finger in there, I can do anything to get in there. So we're going to see the best way to do this. If it's going to be that we glue all of these to this top ring, which is what goes on top of here, and it has all the little tiny holes in there. And then we refit this down when we go to paint this, because this will need to be painted. I don't like the color that this is. It's a very, very light gray. And the photo that I actually have is it of being a very, very dark gray. A lot of the other things are dark gray too. So my biggest problem is that I'm going to have to build a bunch more. These are the last of these. Thank God I'll be finished with them. But I'm going to have to figure out how to get some more tanks in. I actually think I'm going to have to build some N-gauge tanks to fit into some of the areas. And yeah, so the glue that I'm using, just so that you guys know, I'm using this Faller Expert in some cases. But the other thing that I'm using, I picked this up when I was in Japan. I was bored and I was building some models, so I have no idea what this is, but it's really kind of the older liquid style glue, and it seems to be doing a really, really good job. I wish I'd have more of it, but obviously I'm not going to be able to get any more of it. So let's go ahead and start building these around and see what our next steps are. So just to let you know, I'm putting them in one at a time. And I've had to go from my thicker glues, right? Both of these are pretty thick glues. I had to go to the Tamiya extra thin. The reason is what you're trying to do when you're using the thinner glues, and a lot of times if you're doing scratch building, the thinner glues are the ones to use. You want to get that what's known as the capillary action in there so that the glue will go down and flow in between the joints so that you don't have to hold it as much. Sorry about my finger there. And it makes it a lot easier to have the things glue in place. So that's where I'm at. I only got about, there's 4 of them there, 12 more to go. That's the first one. Now, there's still some problems. Some of these have got to go in. Now, the biggest problem with this, there is no way to put a rubber band on this or anything. The best you might be able to do is some string, but then again, you don't want to tie the string very hard because you'll pop these things out. So you can see here, I was able to go all the way around. Now those white spots, like I said, that's one of the things that's the bad part is I had to sand all that stuff so you can see it. It's all flat, but it's all discolored. So now the fun thing is to see if I can put this on and line up all the top holes to hold it all in place while it glues and sets up. Okay, so I'm not going to show you guys that because that's probably going to be 20 minutes of frustration. Oh, by the way, this was over a half hour to get all of these in and make sure that they fit right. And you can see here there's one that has a little bit of a gap, so we're going to check that out. That's one of the reasons why I want to put the top on so that I can get it to line up straight. Okay. Okay. So there we have it. This top portion is not glued on yet. I want to make sure that the bottom portion comes in. Not seeing any problems. We're able to make up some gaps. We're able to make this straighter. So this is going to be the toughest part of your build, it looks like. So we're going to let that go, and we're probably going to start on the other one. But it's late. This has been a whole day pretty much to get to here. So I'm at 6 to 7 hours into this build, and this is what I've got done so far. Okay, so I might post this tonight just to show you guys, and then we'll start on another one to show you how the rest of this goes up. So we still have all these long panels that we go on to here. There's like 6 or 8 of them each. These are all going to go on this, just like this. So they've got to go on there. And then they go all the way around. They meet up. There's 2 other specialty panels that go up there. And then you got the rooftop. That's got a few little things that I could probably put on there and all. And then we'll be done. So that should take another 2 or 3 days to do probably. But we'll see. And then we actually have to paint the whole thing. So again, this whole thing is, can I remove this when we're done so that I can paint this inside and out? That's going to be the big question, because I'd like to have my cement pad stay as much of the cement pad as possible. You can see here, there's no way I could get in there and make that a cement pad. Okay. All right, everybody. Take care, and I'll put out another video as soon as I can. All right. Thanks a lot. Hey, model railroaders. Decided to come back and finish this off. I did the second one a little bit differently. I haven't completed it yet, but this time I went in, had all the posts in there, and then put in all of the support beams. None of these are glued in right now. Nothing is glued. Everything is just laying there. So now I'm going to come back through and use my Tamiya extra thin paint or extra thin cement and go down underneath all of the capillaries. So let some capillary action in there. And maybe it's a little less messy than the first time. But again, you know, when you're doing things like this, you don't know how to do it the first time, so the second time is always easier to do it. But that took a lot less time to do than to glue and stick and put them all the way around. Just to put them all in there first, and then come back and glue everything up. So we'll see how this works out, how the 2 different ones work. And then hopefully I'll be able to come back and take these off and be able to paint the bottoms without messing up all of the interiors there. All right, everybody. So that's going to be it for me tonight. I'll go ahead and post this up, and I'll probably post some more progress tomorrow. All right, again, this was Steve, 87th, saying you guys have a good day, and this ends my Sunday. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a good week and stay safe.